Trust me, as a kid, I tried to get on my efforts many times. I tried to tell them.
You're unsuccessful?
Yeah, it's one thing.
Who doesn't like Spaceballs? Raise your hand. All right, let's roll.
Welcome to Game Day Battle, where Cleveland sports news meets biased and outspoken opinion. We have a huge show, and the Indians are back. And Tribe time. It's here. A couple games under our belt, and impressive games. So, of course, a ton to cover there. We have a huge show. Show number 89. We're missing one person, though, and that is Brett. Couldn't make it tonight, so he will be back next week. Yeah, he'll be right over there.
Yeah.
He'll be back next week, so looking forward to having him back. Ramon Torres to my left, Dale Shanstercy to my right. I'm Mike Glass. It's been 5 years that sports have gone through a big transition. The economy went through a number of issues about 5 years ago, and that caused baseball, basketball, and football and hockey as well to go through a sort of a reorganization financially, and that is what has prompted maybe a decline in the interest level for sports. I mean, personally, I know I look at these leagues differently, so we're going to look at that a bit. And then also we've got the tournament that is in full swing. Championship coming up. Michigan is in it still, at least at the time of this filming. So we're going to look at them, look at Louisville, Wichita State, and we will not show any images of broken legs, because I've seen that.
Can we please?
I've seen that enough, I think.
That was brutal.
That was awful.
Absolutely brutal.
It was sick in real time to watch it, and then all of the different shots that I've seen. Of course, you know, there's the what I've seen a lot this week, people coming up with their cell phone and just like, shh, there you go.
Boom.
Right in front. Yeah, just boom, gotcha.
Boner in your eye.
Yeah, it's not fun. So I think we got to start with the Indians.
Oh, yeah.
Game Day Battle is brought to you by Bamboozle's Restaurant and Lounge in Parma. They have the best drink specials anywhere. Seriously, buy one, get one free drinks. How often do you hear of it? You don't. They do it twice a week. Billy's mom makes the pasta sauce all the time, and the burgers, you simply won't find a better one. Check them out, bamboozles.com. Again, bamboozles.com. When you go there, tell them GDB sent you.
Well, there's been some Browns activity. Colt McCoy is no longer a Cleveland Brown, and he is going to go to the potential Super Bowl winner next year in San Francisco.
Go get yourself a ring there.
Yeah.
You and Dawson.
You and Dawson.
You're welcome.
He actually held for Dawson on occasion, so maybe he'll do the same there.
Yeah, I bet he will.
So I've liked Colt McCoy as a player. He's a Texan, so I'm always a little partial to Texans. But I think that he had a tough road here. I think everybody in Cleveland that's come through, every quarterback that's come through has had a tough road for multiple reasons. But here's the biggest question. Why did Colt McCoy fail here in Cleveland? And what himself, surrounding issues, what was it that made him not work here in Cleveland when he was a very good quarterback in college?
I think it had a lot to do with this management in general, you know, going with coaching. You know, we had an owner who didn't give a rat's ass to what was going on. Just hiring anybody to come in here and fill in the next person's shoes. You know, this guy comes from a winning program. He's one of the winningest college coaches or college quarterbacks, you know, of all time. Like, why wouldn't he succeed anywhere? So he comes here and then just bombs it. So what goes to show you, you know, I mean, not everybody is an NFL quarterback, but this guy looked like he had the potential to be somebody decent, and we seem to could not fit him in anywhere.
Right.
So I think it had a lot to do with, you know, our head coaching, our offensive, the offense we ran, you know, and varsity too. We didn't have no defense to help him, you know.
So you're putting a lot of the struggle on the system that he was working in and the surrounding issues.
Definitely. My theory is, when a quarterback is successful in college, you would try to implement some of the stuff he did in college in the NFL, as Washington does with RG3 and they did with Cousins. You know, teams know that, okay, this is his strengths. Let's try to bring those out in the NFL let's not make him do a 180. Hey, I never did this before, and then you going out there, the guy's gonna get killed.
Yeah, I mean, tell that to Brandon Whedon, who had to play a year under Pat Shurmur after playing for a shotgun offense 80% of the time to go into a shotgun offense maybe 10% of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to dig a little deeper on what Ramon said because I think he nailed it. Just the inconsistency of our ownership and our management. You got to look at his first year. Holmgren liked Colt McCoy, brought him in, but Mangini didn't think so. So the first year, your coach doesn't even think that you're the guy, but you got to go out there and play for him anyways. Then the next year he's got to deal with Pat Shurmur, and his terrible play calling and not allowing Colt to audible, and he never got to progress. Could he have been a good quarterback? Maybe a good quarterback. Maybe like a Jeff Garcia or something.
Serviceable.
Like that. Serviceable, absolutely. That's a good word, Mike. Thank you. But is he top 10? Is he would he ever be in that elite top 5? Absolutely not. I mean, you saw the game films. Even if you're not allowed to call audibles and you still got to run the plays. I mean, you're a quarterback. Hit the open receiver. You still got two or three of them out there with a tight end, and guys block. Like we talked about in the past, not every snap Colt McCoy took was a blown play where nobody blocked for him. You know what I mean? He had plenty of time. Sometimes too much time. He would overthink his throws.
Yeah.
But I didn't see NFL caliber quarterback out of Colt McCoy, and unfortunately he was never the same after that James Harrison hit, which, as a Browns fan was brutal. I would never want to see any of our players have to take a cheap shot like that. But
bad.
Unfortunately he was never the same after that concussion, and then once Brandon Whedon got drafted, I mean, Colt McCoy's bed was already made. So they shopped him around for a while. They weren't able to get much of anything. They found somebody that would give them something, and it was the bare minimum. I believe the details of this trade are a 7th round draft pick, and we're swapping spots in the 5th and 6th round, which also confused me because if any of you know anything about a football draft, the crappy teams have the higher picks in the round. So a Super Bowl team, that means they're going to have the 31st pick. The team that didn't win the Super Bowl will have the 31st pick. So we actually traded down in the 5th and 6th round to grab another 7th round pick, which only 2 Pro Bowl players have ever come out of the 7th round in the history of the National Football League. So, did we get something for him? Kinda, I guess, but not really.
It's a joke.
And what we got for him is nothing really. I mean, they released him in a sense, and we got a 7th round pick.
Yeah.
I think that it sounded like you were kind of spreading the blame a little bit to him, a little bit to the system, a little bit to the situation, and I think that makes sense. But one thing I think that really needs to be noticed is that he did succeed here in Cleveland under Mangini. He had a good, 3/4 of a season?
Yeah.
And I remember back, we even gave him little angel wings and everything.
The
and
Saints?
He beat the Saints, he beat the Steelers, the Patriots. So, I mean, he did succeed here, and we were very excited at the end of that season for what was coming next. Well, what came next was a new quarterback.
And a new coach.
A new coach. And a coach that was calling the plays, acting as OC, a whole different system. And he didn't get used the same. Nobody did.
Yep.
And he didn't succeed the same way. So definitely I think that I agree he's not a top-notch quarterback, and he probably never will be. But you don't actually have to have a top-notch quarterback to be a successful team. Maybe to win a Super Bowl, but to be a successful team, you don't have to. So I think he will find a home somewhere and get another opportunity and maybe get used in a better way. But he was dead before it even started here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a no-start situation. We grabbed him in the 3rd round. Just I mean, he was in the 3rd round.
He was
there, and they grabbed him.
Yep.
We didn't go out and spend a bunch trying to get him. We didn't grab him in the 1st round. So I don't take it as a big loss. I'd like to have that 3rd round pick back though, and maybe and get a wide receiver or something in some sort of position that we could still be benefiting from. Maybe we'll get a gem though, a gem in the 7th.
Yeah. I think teams need to stay away from that. Like those Drew are. Drew Bledsoe, but I'm thinking Drew Bledsoe. I'm thinking
Tom Brady, but yeah.
But
groomed by Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never gonna happen again. Probably for another 50 or 60 years, somebody's gonna come out in the 6th, 7th round and be some tremendous player like that.
Well, it could if the team cheats for 8 years.
But I just felt bad the way Colt was treated. the last 2 seasons. Even though this season hasn't started yet, but this season it was just a wash. They picked up that Thaddeus guy, and then last year without even getting a shot to even compete. Just bring this guy in and say, well, you're going down. What the hell? I don't even get a chance to even try.
The lip service was the worst. We're going to have a quarterback competition. Oh, but it's over before we even throw.
Yeah, it was just bad. They didn't give him a shot this year, which I would have liked to see him still play. He could have still been a Cleveland Brown, but I think he was a decent quarterback. And like you said, Mike, you don't got to be a superstar to win games in the NFL, and I felt he had potential to be a good quarterback, but never got the chance to be.
And the real question when you step back and look at it after it's all said and done is Jason Campbell really that much of an upgrade over Colt McCoy? And I don't know. Maybe in a leadership role.
Experience.
Maybe to give that Drew Bledsoe kind of training, but I wouldn't call Jason Campbell a Drew Bledsoe by any means.
Well, there has been a number of changes over the last 5 years, just to maybe our country as a whole, but specifically here to sports. And we can look at the NFL lockout that occurred after the economy changed, and the owners wanted a different system that wasn't so player-focused. And then there was also the NBA lockout. Then, of course, I think hockey, the NHL has had 2 strikes or lockouts, and a lot has changed. And also in Major League Baseball, there's been a couple seasons now where big name free agents were sitting out there expecting to get a lot of money and weren't getting the offers that they should have received or would have received in the past. So there's been a big shift, and the question is, has this made any of these major leagues, I should say large leagues, better or worse? And if we look just at the NFL, we have different salary caps. We have different focuses for the teams now on who they keep, why they keep a player, and what happens after you win a Super Bowl now, as we saw with the Ravens. It gets blown apart. They can't absorb all of this cash that they now have to pay these players. So in general, and then specifically, what do you think about the effectiveness, or at least the enjoyment factor for each of these sports?
Well, which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with the NFL.
I'd say the NFL has probably grown the most over the last 10 to 20 years. I'm a big fantasy guy, and fantasy football has really changed the game. It's given people to watch games that they normally wouldn't give a shit about. And now some people in some cultures have become severely obsessed with their leagues and their teams. I'm a prime example of that.
It'd be you.
I look forward to football, to my fantasy football draft day more than I do Christmas. You know what I mean? And it's just the connection that it has. It would be tough for me to ever not be a fan. But at the same time, the moves that they're making to try to safen this league up, as they call it, I think it's going to ruin the game. I mean, it is a physical game. That's why they strap on these helmets, you know what I mean? And that's why they wear all these pads. This year we're going to see running backs not able to lower their heads anymore. And, everybody goes, oh, well, it's no big deal. They can still do it within 5 yards. Yeah, nobody cares until they make the call that's going to cost somebody a fucking playoff game or something like that. Then it's going to be a huge problem. But, I think Roger Goodell has good intentions for the future of the game, but I just hate they're going to be wearing flags in 10 years. And I'm actually thinking about, is there another league that could start up that could ever rival the NFL if it ever becomes too Nancy and too unwatchable?
XFL could come back?
Yeah, I mean, anything could happen. Could you root for some other team in the future and put away all your Browns gear because the NFL's done, and
Gladiators?
Root for the Gladiators, you know what I mean, and have that be the new thing? It's highly unlikely with the culture and just the fact that you want to show support for the city you live in, and all you want to do is see your team bring home a championship, not just for your personal self, but because what it does for the city and the revenue that it brings for your city, and it puts you on the map. And it's always a great feeling to have a championship team. But the NFL, I'd say, was the biggest gainer over the past 20 years.
And just looking at a smaller sample over the last few years or so, do you feel like then that it's actually increasing in its appeal to not just to you, and not just to somebody our age, but to young dudes, because that's what really matters. That's where erosion happens, is when the kids don't get into it the same way their dad did.
Well, that's why they're trying to siphon it up, is so that parents will let their kids play football, you know?
Right.
And that's part of it. I mean, you're not going to have, you know, the best caliber players if kids that should play football never did. But, yeah, I had a thought in my mind and I kind of lost it there. Ramon, what do you got? Maybe it'll run back.
Yeah, Ramon, are you more interested in the NFL now than you were, say, 5 years ago?
Not as much. As I like to call it, the no fun league doesn't allow you to do anything anymore. You know, I get that there's certain players that do certain things, you know, to put other players' lives in jeopardy. I don't like that part of it. But there's a lot of rules that's become in the last 5 years that are just horrible. You know, they just took away, you know, kick returns now. You know, like you just cost somebody their job right there. You know, their livelihood is gone. You know, you can't even celebrate in the end zone. You know, you get a penalty if you leave your feet. You know, you want to do a backflip. You want to jump into the stand. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're taking away a lot of stuff that made it enjoyable to watch. You know, because when we go out there, we want to see that touchdown. You know, we want to see those interceptions. We want to see those guys celebrate. You know, that's why we pay that kind of money to go into those places.
The entertainment value.
You know,
right?
yeah, because
Not
that's
just
what
the game, but
exactly
the extra
because
entertainment value.
we are there to be entertained.
And you're right, because I don't think that we seek expensive tickets or spend a lot of time to go watch random football games at, you know, high schools or wherever you can see football. It's not the game so much that we're really into. It's the NFL. It's the package of the entertainment, the athletic ability of these people, and also the fanfare, all the stuff that goes on to make it fun, the colors, the names, the history, and all of that stuff. And they're tampering with that. They're definitely tampering with that when you can't have any sort of celebration in the end zone. I mean, it's fun. That's what we did as kids. That's what we want to see.
You know.
All right, the Tribe. Let's give them some love.
2-0, series sweep.
Series sweep, 2-0. 2-0, but it looked impressive, right? They looked good. They looked like the team we thought they would be.
Did you think they would be?
I thought that they would come out and they would maybe not look this good this early, but I thought they'd be a good team this year.
You thought they'd come out on the road and take out the knuckleball, game one? Come on.
I don't know that I thought that I predicted 2 wins, but I'm saying I predicted I really thought that this would be a good team. I think we all did. That's why we were excited about the pickups that we had.
Well, we didn't really know. We just were excited to see.
This is a better team than we had last year.
Agreed.
I'll say that.
Agreed.
And so if we just look in general at these wins, starting pitching, not so bad. Not so bad. Jimenez had a little bit of trouble, but not so bad overall. Dale, I know you've got a bunch together for us.
I am the stat master. Let's start with game one. You know, right off the rip, Justin Masterson came out. I thought he looked pretty good. He got in a couple jams early. Props to our defense stepping out in that first game. They got Masterson out of a lot of jams. They left 9 base runners, you know, on the bases, and you're not going to win a lot of games. R.A. Dickey, we got to open the season against the Cy Young knuckleballer, you know, in his new town. Toronto's supposed to be this big super team with Reyes and Batista and all the moves that they made, you know, during the offseason, spending all that money. But we went out there and, you know, a couple of pass balls allowed us to really make some moves and really open up the gates for us. As Drupal Cabrera with that 2-run shot really blew the game, blew the game open and allowed Masterson to settle down. I think he retired like 11 straight batters after that, so he definitely got into a groove. That was nice to see. And you know, they had the one thing that we've talked about during the off season, and that's run support. We know that the bullpen that we have, we don't have any major strikeout guys that are going to get you double-digit strikeouts. We don't even really have any of those complete game shutout caliber pitchers. But what we do have is quality pitching that'll get you through 6 innings. And if we can give these guys some quality run support, we would be in the position to win some ball games. And I think that's what we saw here in the first 2.
Definitely, they look good. Both of these games, like you said, Masterson started off, you know, a little shaky. first 3 innings, but kind of settled in. You know, you get them first game jitters. It's opening day. You know, every person. You know, CeCe went through that, and they got rocked over there in New York. So you know, it's opening day. It's that adrenaline rush. You know, so after he settled in, he showed why he should be starting on opening day. You know, and the second game, man, we were tied for a while, then came back. You know, but Perez jacked that all up, you know. But hey,
you don't want to feed Batista right on the center of the plate. That's not a good
talking
move.
about it, 40 home runs a year, you know.
Not a good move.
And he just give him that meatball. But then Reynolds comes back. You
Mark
know?
Reynolds, props.
Yeah.
Reason why we picked him
Why
up,
he's here,
you know.
to hit home runs.
Oh, yeah.
Bring in
And-
base runners.
And that's what he did. And
If
it
it
goes
wins
to
a
show
game,
you, you know.
Yeah, if it wins a game, all the better.
And you know, shout out to Terry Francona for letting Masterson finish that game, or you know, even finish that 6th inning, come out and what he did, 1, 2, 3 out there,
Yep.
4th, 5th, and 6th batters. You know,
Yep.
so big shout out to him, man. To go with the guy that you just started coaching, and that goes to show you. Yeah, he believes in these guys, you know, and that so builds their confidence so much that now when they go out there next, like, hey, I even got this coach who's behind me, you know. He's not even talking about it; he's also showing me.
Yeah.
Well, Francona's been here, done that, and he's doing it again. And that maybe is a big part of these guys being able to work together. Because I can't imagine an easy situation like this where you've got so many guys that are they're going to have their own egos, they're going to have their own history. They've been around the league for a while. That's how we know of them. That's why we were excited to get them. But to get them to work together and to get them to be excited about working together and to buy into the system and finding the ways that they all can, to get the best out of them, I guess. That's a big job. And Francona's kept things together in a good way. If they come out and lost both of these games, but scored some runs, had some good pitching, I think we still would have been happy. We just wouldn't have been as excited. I was expecting that it would take a few weeks for them to sort of gel and to get it together. And it still may. I mean, they could come out and blow the next 3 games.
Whoa.
No, I'm not going to be the negative
Come
Nancy
on,
here.
bro. Come on, man. 2-0.
2-0, and we're going to enjoy that. But even if they did, I'm saying that they're a functioning team. Look at Drew Stubbs, the 9 spot.
Yeah.
Look at the 9 spot last year. Was it Hanahan, I think? I mean, look at that step up right there.
Yeah.
That right at 9. And then when you've got Reynolds that can knock some balls out of the park, it's a nice combination of riches. And I don't think that we're as stacked as our enemy in Detroit, but I think we can hang if we had to play them right now.
I think we could absolutely hang. I mean, for us to start the season on the road in Toronto and come out 2-0 with 2 big road wins, I mean, you couldn't be any happier right now as a Tribe fan. It's really great to come out and see what we were able to do these first 2 games. It's nice to say we have 2 pitchers with ERAs under 2 right now.
Yeah.
So
That didn't happen at all last year.
I just like seeing everybody play together, you know, everybody gelling at the right moment. You know, I'd rather see a team start off hot, just in case any injuries does happen. You know, you do build a lead on some of the teams, so they can get those guys to come back. But we actually got healthy players, you know, and that's what I want to see. That we forked out some money to see these guys actually play, not like the previous years that we pay all this money and these guys are not even on the field.
And it was kind of weird watching the games and not seeing Hafner and not seeing Grady and some of the guys that we've had around here lately. But it's a breath of fresh air with this lineup. Everybody that goes to the plate, minus Chisenhall, I feel is a threat to. Is a threat to take you deep or knock a double or just take advantage of a mistake. And it's really nice to have that luxury of solid base runners, but not just the bat. How about our defense? That game 1, we had 3 plays that could have been in the top 10. I'm pretty sure 2 of them were that double play that Asdrubal turned on that 105-mile-an-hour liner that came at him, and then props to Drew Stubbs for damn near sliding.
That was awesome.
Out of the field. Thought he might have hurt his knee a little bit there, but it was nice to see him walk that one off. That was definitely a top 10 play, but that's what you want to see. Wild plays, man.
And early on in the season too, it shows they're dialed in and they're ready to go. I like that. So overall our takes are good. We're all happy with where we're at right now. Any points of concern?
Chris Perez. I'm going to come right out and say it. I hear all this argument about him being the best closer in baseball. The guy has 2 pitches, a fastball and a slider, and they're so similar. I mean, once you learn how to hit the guy, every time I watch him, man, I'm on fucking pins and needles when he's out there.
All right, the NCAA tournament is full swing. Back championship coming up, and Ohio State Buckeyes are not going to be in it.
Wichita State.
Wichita State, to their credit, they've beaten a bunch of teams they shouldn't have beaten, so maybe they're just pretty good.
Yep.
Buckeyes didn't show up. They thought they could bring it together at the end. They started probably 2 minutes too late, and
Maybe a half too late.
well, I mean, they hey, the way they were coming back like that, another minute or two, and they would have been there. Didn't really manage the last probably 30 seconds of the game very well, but you know, it was panicked and they're young, whatever. So they're out of it, and that sucks. But we've got Louisville still in it, and Louisville minus a very broken leg guy.
Can we show it?
That's just awful. It's just awful. Sorry about that. I promised none of that, and we just did it.
That's my Facebook profile pic.
Are you serious?
No.
Don't do that to people. So Louisville's got to play Wichita and Wichita State. What are we expecting from this game? We've got probably the best team moving to this point in Louisville, and the most surprising team at this point in Wichita State. You guys watched the game with the Buckeyes, so I know you got to see Wichita in action. You impressed by their physicality, impressed by their just overall athleticism. Anything about the team make you think they're a fluke?
Yeah, I think Ohio State should have had that game, to be honest with you.
Well, they should have, yeah.
I think it was bad coaching, in my opinion, with the Buckeyes game. But they won. Shouts out to them, I guess. But I don't think they're going to get past them. I don't see them in the championship.
So Louisville over Wichita?
Oh, yeah.
Cool, go ahead.
We have a small amount of time left, and with that, we are going to raise our beer to somebody we hate, somebody that we love, and spout off for a little bit about whatever we want to. So tonight, I'm going to let Dale Shantz Tersey start us off.
Hey, thanks, Mike. You're always so kind.
I'm very kind.
Since I know my boys are going to be giving our tribe lots of love, I'm going to give it up for you, Darvish. You. 8 2/3 inning, only to be robbed of the perfect game by the number 9 hitter and a blooper in between his legs. I watched that game for 2 hours, and it was so painful to see it end that way. You know, the guy can't speak a lick of English, and he comes over here after his first year, and you know, it took him a while to learn the league, just to get to see like what the feel was, see what he really had to work on, and for him to come out and dominate, 14 strikeouts, 1 out away, man. I can't believe it. It's like the worst thing ever. So props to you, Darvish, for that great performance. I would have liked to see that complete game, though.
Was that worse than that messing up that no-hitter?
At least with that, it happened, and we could all say that it happened. This was so, I mean, right when the ball hit left the bat, it was like in slow motion, and you could just see, like,
he just missed it, too. He just missed it.
And there was that moment of disbelief where it rolled past him, and they go to the wide shot, and you expect somebody's going to dive. I mean, this can't happen. Yeah. And then it goes past the infield, and you're like, oh my God, this is a base hit. Yeah. And then it like sinks in, and hats off to you, because he laughed about it. Instantly laughed about it. And they showed his teammates were throwing shit. They were all pissed off. And I think they were pissed off probably at the batter for not, taking the strikeout.
You don't give a no hitter away, man. I'm sorry. You don't let the guy do that to you. So,
unless you're the umpire.
But to answer your question, that was Anibal Sanchez that last year. I would probably say that one was worse because they got the guy out, and the ump made a terrible call, so he was robbed of it. This one, the guy actually got the hit, so it wasn't that bad, but I would have still loved to see an opening day perfect game.
Hey, the other than me.
I'll raise my beer to the